Good evening, everyone, from Larry Knight Field in Sumrall, Mississippi. It's time for the next round of the 4A South State High School Baseball Playoffs as the Sumrall Bobcats host the Vancleave Bulldogs in Game 1 of a best-of-3 game series. I'm Kelly Sanner, along with producer-engineer Jeremy Thompson. Jacob Robinson over here to our left as well, as we get ready for a perfect night here in Sumrall for Game 1. These two teams remarkably similar. Sumrall comes in with a 25-2 record, Vancleave 21-6. And it's a shame that anybody would have to lose this series. Two great teams. Cross Sibley in the sunlight as you see they're warming up for Sumrall. Vancleave will send to the plate hitters in this order. Cade Carpenter will lead off. He's the center fielder. He's hitting a tenacious .478 with 12 homers and 40 runs batted in. Drew Williamson, the left fielder, bats second. He'll be followed by Christian Kell. Jansen White, the third baseman and the cleanup hitter, bats fourth. He'll be followed by the designated hitter, Max Miller, who is batting for Cade Giles, the first baseman. Manny Seymour, the outstanding second baseman, bats sixth for Coach Daniel Best. Then Noah Nicholson, the pitcher. The starting pitcher for Vancleave tonight, no hit Oak Grove earlier this year. Carson Robb bats eighth, he's the catcher. And Preston Robbins, the right fielder, bats ninth for Vancleave. So it's Carpenter, Williamson, Kell, White, Miller, Seymour, Nicholson, Robb, and Robbins to go against Cross Sibley. Sibley comes into the game with a win-loss record of 5-2 with a 0.63 earned run average. He has pitched 55 1/3 innings. He has allowed 23 hits. He's walked 18 and struck out 92. And we'll get to Noah Nicholson's numbers when the Bobcats come to bat in the bottom of the first inning. Defensively, Levi Odom is at third. Marshall Phillips at shortstop. Ty Little at second. Hayden Norrid at first. The outfield from left to right is Barrett, Rayner, and Dito. And we are underway here in Sumrall tonight. The first pitch is inside. Glad to have you with us on the NFHS network, wherever you might be across the world. You can always reach us here as there's a shot towards short. Phillips can't get to it. It's under his glove. And Cade Carpenter is aboard. And again, Carpenter came into the game hitting .478. So his batting average goes up even higher. And here's Drew Williamson, who's right behind him with a .416 batting average, 3 homers and 25 runs batted in. This Vancleave team has hit nearly 20 home runs on the year. The Sumrall team only 3. But again, the Sumrall pitching staff has been so good they haven't needed to score a lot of runs. First pitch to Williamson is outside, ball 1. The sun field is center field. Throw over to first. Look out, there's that pickoff move. Now they've got him in what they call a pickle. Trying to go back and forth. Sibley underhands, and they tag him, and he is out. Beautiful execution by the Bobcats. Everybody was where they were supposed to be. And that great pickoff move by Sibley reaps benefits again. There's one out, bases empty. You can reach us here in the press box at 601-310-7077, as always. And the left field executive lounge, they've got a grill going out over there as the aroma of hamburgers and sausages makes its way up here to the top deck of the press box. There's a strike. As we come back to the ranch here, the count is 1-1 to Williamson. Vancleave batting in the top of the first. We're scheduled for 7 tonight amid perfect weather conditions. Breaking ball, missed, little low, 2-1. Again, for those of you not familiar with the layout here at Larry Knight Field, a turf infield, natural grass outfield, 325 down the left field line, 305 down the right. It's definitely a better place for lefties to hit than it is righties. That pitch is outside, 3-1 now to Drew Williamson. He'll be followed by the shortstop, Christian Kell. Kell spelled K-E-L-L. They're lined all everywhere tonight. Around the fences, hardly any place to stand or sit. There's a walk for Williamson. And that pickoff has really bailed Cross Sibley out of any potential jams He has picked off a ton of runners this year. Here's Kell now, the shortstop, batting .326. First pitch is high and away. 1 home run, 20 runs batted in. And Sibley, those of you that have followed him, tends, when he does struggle, to struggle early and then settles in as the night goes on. The 1-0 pitch. There's a strike. A 4-man umpiring crew tonight. So not a single base that won't be covered with a bird's eye view by this staff. There's a throw over to first base again, back in time. Any team that plays Sumrall that has studied any kind of film, particularly Sibley, would know to stay pretty closely tethered to first base unless they may be on the run. It is a great move. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Blew it past him at 85 miles an hour. Sibley headed to Jones College, formerly Jones Junior College back in the day. Not a cloud in the sky, just a wisp of a wind. Low humidity, beautiful night. That's way outside. Sibley clearly lost that one, and Williamson, without too much problem, gets to second base. Purvis still alive in the playoffs. Oak Grove in 6A as we check other Lamar County schools. The 2-2 pitch swung on, lifted foul, but out of play. That'll get beyond the right field lounge and on the top of the roof of the John Tyler Helt Fieldhouse. Glad that you're with us on the NFHS network, the playoff provider for the MHSA, the Mississippi High School Activities Association. Jansen White, the third baseman, on deck as the Bulldogs continue to bat here in the top of the first. The 2-2, breaking ball way outside. 3-2 now. And it wasn't close. You've got two fan bases here that are very baseball knowledgeable. So any calls that are really close are going to make about half the people happy and half the people mad. The 3-2 final pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him on strikes.
Third baseman, Jansen White.
So 2 away. And here's the third baseman, Jansen White. All righties so far for Vancleave. And you would think if Andrew Knight goes in tomorrow night's game 2, scheduled for 6 o'clock, that would be to his advantage. First pitch, breaking ball, strike on the corner. White thought it might have been a little bit out, but again, an umpire early in the game establishes a strike zone, and then it's the pitcher's job to kind of throw it where the umpire wants it. Here's the 0-1. Swung on. Last foul behind the plate. And you'd think, well, why does a pitcher have to feel out the umpire? The strike zone is supposed to be the strike zone. I get that. But some umpires are a little bit more lenient than others as far as how much they'll give the pitcher on the outside part of the plate, up, down, or inside. 0-2 to Jansen White. The runner at second is Drew Williamson. He'll be going on contact with 2 away. Sibley kicks and delivers the 0-2. That's outside. Tried to get him to chase. White showing some discipline laying off of it here. Hayes Rayner having a heck of a time in center field, shading that sun. He is toward right, as they don't think that White will get around on Sibley. The 1-2, breaking ball. Here's a drive toward right center field. That ball is way back. It is back. Dito tries to get it, but it's over the wall and a home run. Jansen White, just beyond the reach of Dito in right field, has made it a 2-0 Vancleave lead. Oh boy, and the Vancleave guys just made a mortal error. They challenged the Sumrall fans as he crossed home plate. He will live to regret that. 2-0 Bulldogs. And here's Max Miller, the DH. Interestingly, the DH being a left-handed hitter, normally when you have a left-handed pitcher, they'll put in a right-handed DH. Here's a slow roller towards Sibley. He's got it, then drops it, comes up and has to throw a laser to first. And in time for the play. But the Bulldogs come up with 2 runs on 2 hits. There were no errors and nobody left on base. We go to the bottom of the first inning here in Sumrall tonight. It's the Bulldogs 2, the Bobcats nothing. You're listening to Sumrall Bobcat Playoff Baseball, powered by Dandy Dan's. Sumrall Bobcat Baseball brought to you by Recommended Collision Repair, the Alpha Insurance Agency of Casey Long, Rainforest Car Wash, where Tuesdays is Ladies' Day, Stacy Clark State Farm Insurance Agency, Com South in the business of business communications for 50 years, Real South Hunting as well. We thank them for their sponsorship. Let's take a look at the Sumrall batting order now. Hayden Barrett leads it off. He'll be followed by Hayes Rayner. Marshall Phillips bats 3rd, and Hayden Norred bats 4th. Then comes Cade Dito batting 5th. Ty Little, the second baseman, is in the 6th hole tonight. Then rounding out the Sumrall order will be Levi Odom at 3rd. Walker Long gets the designated hitter spot tonight. And Ethan Altman bats 9th. So again, for Sumrall, it's Barrett, Rayner, Phillips, Norred, Dito, Little, Odom, Long, and Altman. On the hill is Noah Nicholson, the 6'4", kind of lanky right-hander. Nicholson comes in with a win-loss record.
Bobcats left fielder Hayden Barrett.
7 wins and 2 losses for Nicholson with a 1.49 earned run average. He has pitched 51 2/3 innings. He has allowed 34 hits. He has walked only 9 and has struck out 66. So he doesn't have as many strikeouts as Sibley by far, but doesn't have quite as many walks. And that tells you that his defense plays behind him pretty well. And the first pitch to Hayden Barrett is outside, ball 1. Barrett hitting .354 with 1 home run and 28 runs batted in. Christy Martin has checked in tonight on our live wire at 601-310-7077. She's watching the NFHS network on her computer out of Folsom, Louisiana. Christy, a big Bobcat fan. There's a pitch that missed. 2-1 now to Barrett. And as tall as one pitch swung on, this is popped out of play over to the right side. They'll come over and take a look at it, but that hits the backside of the executive lounge tin roof over there. Boy, the left field executive lounge is really the place tonight. They got the door open and it's packed over there on the deck. Grills working on both sides, and not a seat to be had anywhere, as you would expect. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on, fouled back behind home plate. Barrett stays alive. Barrett with 1 homer and 28 runs batted in, but by far leads the team in getting hit by pitch. He's been beaned 22 times this year. That's 22 free bases. Speaking of 22, here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and just got a piece of it, but taps it foul to the right side. Game 2 of this series, scheduled for 6 o'clock tomorrow in Vancleave. Originally, it thought that they might have a day game. They were having some problems repairing their lights that were damaged by a storm. But we're told that the power company's got everything ready to roll, so 6 o'clock tomorrow night, not 6:30, but 6 o'clock on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Sumrall at Vancleave, Game 2 of the best-of-3 game series. The 2-2 pitch to Barrett, swung on. Here's a drive toward left. Well hit, but playable. Tracking it in left and pulling it down is Drew Williamson for out number 1. So 1 away, and here's Rayner now, the center fielder. Rayner hitting .314 with no home runs and 12 runs batted in. We told you how proficient Nicholson is. First pitch to Rayner is on the inside corner. Magic Man and Splinter have checked in tonight. They're eating crawfish pie in Melby. Man, Melby's got something on the menu different every night. Second pitch is just outside, 1-1. I'm just glad to know that I finally got the invitation. Anytime I want to make it, I'll have to get Splinter, send me a map. Here's the 1-1. There's a strike at the knees. Rayner behind in the count now, 1-2. They play him straight away. The center fielder, Cade Carpenter, shading his eyes from the sun. Third pitch outside. That's the fourth pitch now. 2-2. Didn't miss by much. Nicholson, a fast worker, going from the full windup. More pitchers going from the stretch, but goes from the windup. Swing and a foul back into the screen. Marshall Phillips on deck, and should he be needed, then Hayden Norred. Some of the folks out there in left field have pulled their trucks and tailgates up to the back of the fence, getting a view. That's inside. 3-2 now to Rayner. Good at bat here. He's worked the count full. Nicholson, again, a quick worker. Kicks, here's a shot toward first and into right field. A base hit. Tough to handle for the first baseman over there, Cade Giles, because he's kind of looking into that sun as well. But Rayner credited with the hit. And here comes Marshall Phillips now. Phillips hitting .395 with 2 homers and 38 runs batted in. Bobcats making a little noise here in the bottom part of the first inning. Phillips leads the team in home runs. Of the starters, leads the team in batting average. First pitch to him. Outside, ball 1. As he works to the meat of the Sumrall order. And we told you that Nicholson no-hit Oak Grove earlier this year, but that's already off the board here with the shot by Rayner into right field. 1-0. There's a strike. Phillips knew it. Righty versus righty this matchup, and again playing him straight away. Not sure it could be any better night. Low humidities. Well, one way it could be a better night is the Bobcats come out with a win. Let's see. 1-1 pitch off the plate. 2-1 to Phillips. Phillips hitting in the 3-hole. Marshall's just a junior, so he's got another year left on his contract, and a lot of schools at the next level wanting his services. A Pearl River Wildcat is on deck. Hayden Norred. Game 1 of the next round of the playoffs, and many people who have looked on from the outside have thought this round might be tougher than the next round for either team. Swung on, here's a little pop-up. Shallow right field, going out as the second baseman to make the catch. Wow, I'm not sure what flavor that snow cone was, but he hung on to it. Manny Seymour with the grab. So 2 away. And here's Norred now. .384 the batting average, so he's just a few points behind Phillips. No homers, 27 runs batted in. So Norred good in the clutch at delivering hits when runners are aboard. And Rayner is at first now with 2 away. Throw again over to first. Steve Cooley at first base talking him back to the bag. Coach Andy Davis, what a year he has had with this team. He's down there at third. Everybody got the short sleeves on tonight. Much more comfortable time of year. Snap throw back to first into right field. Rayner is up, and he will make it to second base. So an error for the Bulldogs puts a Bobcat in scoring position. Well, it's only May, but a Christmas gift. Christmas gift for the Bobcats here in May. So now Rayner will be going on contact. The 1-0 pitch. Took something off of it. It's a strike on the inside corner. Throw to third, and Rayner is there. As the ball got away from the catcher, Carson Robb. So Nicholson will have to pay attention to Norrid here. And really that just means by getting Rayner to third that he could score on a pass ball potentially. 1-1 pitch off the plate. 2-1 now to Norrid with Cade Dito on deck. Glad that you're with us on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday night here in South Mississippi. The 2-1 pitch swung on, a little pop toward first. The pitcher will field it and take it to the bag himself. And that does it for the Bobcats in the bottom of the first inning. No runs on a hit, no error, one error, and one man left on base. We've completed an inning here in Sumrall tonight. It's the Bulldogs 2, the Bobcats nothing. And you're watching Sumrall Bobcat Baseball, powered by Dandy Dan's. Our scores during the playoffs brought to you by Java Mo's. No need to get out of your car for your favorite cup of joe. Just go through the drive-thru at Java Mo's with their new location right across from Pearl River Community College on Highway 11. Thank you, Java Mo's, for your support of Sumrall Bobcat Baseball. Also, Recommended Collision Repair. We hope that you never need the services of Recommended, but if you do, there's only one place to take it to make sure that your car looks brand new even after the worst that could happen. Recommended, that's rec with a R, or with a W rather, a W, rec, like car wreck amended. At the Y intersection of Old 11 and Highway 589. Actually closer to Purvis, but big supporter of Sumrall baseball as well. So leading it off is Manny Seymour, the second baseman, as we go to the top of the second inning. Seymour hitting .296 with no homers and 14 runs batted in. Odom in on the edge of the grass at third, trying to take away a potential bunt. First pitch is low, ball one. From the full windups, Sibley working pretty quickly tonight. The 1-0 pitch, there's a strike. 1-1 to the leadoff hitter, Manny Seymour. He'll be followed by the pitcher, Noah Nicholson. Here in the top of the second. That's off the plate. 2-1 now. The Sumrall Bobcat team with only 2 losses all year. The 2-1 pitch swung on and fouled out of play on the football field over there, but nobody will be able to retrieve that because of the chemicals that have been sprayed on the field over there. They've got it locked up pretty tightly. Normally the youngsters will get over there and carry on. That pitch is outside and the count goes full at 3-2. So that baseball will just be on a deserted island out there. Payoff pitch coming to Seymour. Trying to avoid the leadoff man getting on base. Swung on, here's a shot up the middle, a base hit. So it was earned, but Seymour is aboard with a single. And here's Noah Nicholson. Nicholson, a right-handed thrower, but a left-handed hitter. And he's not just a good pitcher, he's a good hitter, hitting .320 with a homer and 26 runs batted in. Pitch is inside, nearly brushed the jersey. And here comes the skipper, Andy Davis, out of the dugout. He wants to talk things over. You would think that Nicholson hitting in the 7-hole, that there's a potential for a bunt situation here, which had Odom coming in from third. But he did not show a bunt. And again, you've got a guy that hits for power. So you would think that Daniel Best would just let him swing away. And that's apparently what he's going to do. Andy Davis talking things over with his defense. And this trip to the mound brought to you by your Alpha Insurance agent, Casey Long, whose son Walker Long is in the lineup tonight for the Sumrall Bobcats as the designated hitter. We thank Casey Long and his agency. He's been with Alpha a long time, and that's successful insurance agent is where they are for a long time for a reason, because they do a good job and make sure that your needs are taken care of. So thank you, Casey Long. So the conference is broken up. And Nicholson will resume his at-bat with a 1-0 count. Odom still in on the grass at third. 1-0 pitch. Inside and high, 2-0. It's rare that you see two pitchers go up against each other, and both of them from the left side. But Sibley, a left-handed thrower, there's that pickoff move again. And boy, the Bulldogs fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They're staying pretty close to that bag at first base. 2-0 pitch. That's low and away. 3-0 now to Noah Nicholson. Nobody active in the Sumrall bullpen, but it's still early. I mean, it's just the second inning. But Sibley behind here in the count, 3-0. On the take and in position A for strike one. Rayner in mid-center field, playing Nicholson more straight up than he has other players. There's the throw over to first again. Sibley a little bit less enthusiastic with the runner that close. 3-1 the count to Nicholson with the catcher Carson Robb on deck. The 3-1 swung on. Here's a grounder towards second. Little's got it. He'll go to second for the force out. Throw to first, not in time. So the fielder's choice erases Seymour. And they nearly had the double play there. The ball was hit a little bit more crisply. He would have made it. So Bilbo, the courtesy runner at first base now, for Carson Robb, the catcher. And I've not met Carson Robb, but I like the way he wears the uniform with the elastic pants up under the knees. There, that's old-fashioned baseball there. Swung on. Here's a drive toward right. That ball is well hit. Oh, brother. That's gone. And there was no doubt about it. Cade Dito took 2 steps toward the fence and said, it's a goner. Four nothing Bulldogs.
Right fielder Preston Robbins.
So here's Preston Robbins, the right fielder now. He takes strike one. Robbins, the right fielder, hitting 185 with no homers and 6 runs batted in. So the Bulldogs have their hitting shoes on tonight. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss, badly fooled on the off-speed bender. The leadoff hitter, Cade Carpenter, is on deck. The 0-2 pitch. Check the swing. Altman slaps on the tag thinking that he might have gone, but home plate umpire Mr. Cullup says didn't go. From the full windup, Sibley kicks and delivers the 1-2. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Robbins is sent back to the dugout. 2 outs, bases empty, and here's Cade Carpenter now, who singled to lead off the game. Carpenter batting now nearly 500 on the year. 12 homers, 40 runs batted in. First pitch to him. Strike on the corner on an off-speed pitch. 2-run homers in the first and second inning have given the Bulldogs a 4-0 lead. The 0-1 pitch. That's low, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch from Sibley. Little tapper out in front of the plate, but it goes foul. Carpenter streaks down the first baseline. So 1-2 to Carpenter. Sibley winds and delivers the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So that ends the inning for the Bulldogs, but on that 2-run blast by Carson Robb, it is the Vancleave Bulldogs 4 and the Sumrall Bobcats nothing. You're listening and watching to the MHSAA State High School Baseball Playoffs on the NFHS TV network and Sumrall Bobcat Baseball powered by Dandy Dan's. Sumrall Bobcat Baseball powered by Dandy Dan's with 2 locations to serve you in Bellevue and in Sumrall. Open early every morning with an array of different flavored coffees, always fresh, always hot. And they also have an array of different fuels to make sure that your vehicles, whether they're 2, 3, or 4 wheels, have exactly what they need to keep you on the go. Dandy Dan's, a proud supporter of Sumrall Bobcat Baseball. Kate Dito, Ty Little, and Levi Odom come to the plate now in the bottom of the second inning, scheduled for 7 tonight. And again, just a picture-perfect night in northwest Lamar County, not a cloud in the sky. Here's Cade Dito now. Dito hitting .382 with no homers and 12 runs batted in. Righty versus righty this matchup. First pitch to him is high, ball 1. Right over top of home plate. We can see that pitch as it comes over the plate. That's outside. 2-0 now to Dito, with Ty Little on deck, and Levi Odom will follow him. The 2-0 pitch. High again. 3-0 to Dito. Noah Nicholson, the pitcher for Vancleave, is a really quick worker. Gets the sign, kicks, and delivers. 3-0 pitch. That's there for strike 1. Not a whole lot of places to sit. I mean, they're lined up all over the place tonight, as you would expect on a beautiful night like tonight. 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Challenged him with a heater and blew it past him at 85 miles an hour. They're playing Dito straight away here. Is the center fielder, Cade Carpenter. Swung on. Here's a lazy little fly ball coming out shallow center, and Carpenter is there to glove it for out number 1. If that ball was hit a little bit lower, it would have been one of those gappers that would have been tough to get. Here's Ty Little now, hitting .306 with no homers and 23 runs batted in. Airtime tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. The NFHS network is the place to go for Sumrall Bobcat baseball in the postseason. First pitch to Little is taken for ball 1. You got to give Noah Nicholson a little bit of credit there on Dito. Worked himself back into the count and then wound up retiring Dito. 1-0 pitch. There's a shot into right field. That ball's going to roll quickly. Little streaking around first. He's on his way in a second. He will pull the parachute there, but that's a 1-out double for Sumrall here in the bottom of the second inning.
Third baseman Levi Odom.
And Ty Little, we talked about during the pandemic, being absolutely bored at the house and built himself a gym, a homemade gym, and just worked out feverishly during the pandemic. And it's been reaping benefits for him. Here's Levi Odom now. Odom hitting the 7th hole, the third baseman hitting .277 with a homer and 18 runs batted in. Swung on. Here's a chopper towards short. Should be routine to first. It is. There's 2 away. But on the play, Little advances to third.
Designated hitter, Walker Long.
We talked about how Noah Nicholson, the pitcher for Vancleave, is not a hardcore strikeout pitcher. Teams will put the ball in play, but the defense behind him tends to do its job. And here's Walker Long now, the designated hitter. Long hitting .455 in a limited role, but still a great average. No home runs and 5 runs batted in. First pitch to him, swung on, that's tapped toward third. Quick throw to first base is not in time. Walker Long beat it out, and Sumrall's on the board.
Catcher, Ethan Altman.
That's an infield single. And another RBI for Long. You know, if you put it in context of prom dates, she wasn't real pretty, but it was a date, right? It's a run. Here's Ethan Altman. Altman, the catcher, hitting .200 with no homers and 8 runs batted in. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. First pitch is inside, ball 1. No word as to who would pitch tomorrow night for Sumrall. Andrew Knight, you would think, would have the inside edge, the way things have been lately. 1-0 pitch. Swung on, that's chopped foul, wide of third. Coach Andy Davis actually flagged that one down. So the guys in Melby having crawfish pie tonight. It is crawfish season, isn't it? Good batch this year, too. A lot of the crawfish are pretty big this season. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on. Here's a drive towards center field. That ball is caught by Carpenter, who was moving back toward the gap in left center. Altman gave it a ride. Carpenter was there to put it in his back pocket. So 1 run for the Bobcats on 2 hits. We go to the top of the 3rd inning here in Sumrall tonight. Already the top of the 3rd. It's the Bulldogs 4, the Bobcats 1. You're watching the baseball playoffs on the NFHS TV network. So we go to the top of the 3rd inning. It'll be Williamson, Kell, and White for the Bulldogs. That's their hitters 2, 3, and 4 for Vancleave here in the top of the 3rd inning. The Bulldogs have scored 2 in each of the first 2 innings. The Bobcats answered with 1 in the bottom of the 2nd. Game time tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And you know the Bobcat Nation travels in large numbers. They say that dogs travel in packs, like bulldogs, but these Bobcats travel in big packs. And here's Drew Williamson, who walked his first time up and wound up scoring on the blast from Jansen White. Again, top of the 3rd inning, 4 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Vancleave. 1 run, 3 hits, no errors for the Rawcats. First pitch is low, ball 1. I know the players like those powder blue Sumrall uniforms. 1-0 pitch, swung on, that's chopped foul, wide of third. But I like this this all white uniform for Sumrall. Very classy and very classic looking. 1-1 the count to the leadoff hitter Drew Williamson here in the top of the 3rd. Boy, kind of a half-hearted swing at the off-speed pitch. 1-2 now to Williamson. Williamson hitting .416 with 3 homers and 25 runs batted in. off the plate, 2-2 now. Sibley has only surrendered one walk. It was in that first inning. It's not the walks that hurt, it's the home run behind it that hurts. 2-2 pitches off the plate, 3-2 now. So the leadoff hitter, Williamson, has worked the count full. Big out here as Sibley still standing in the sunlight. Here's the 3-2. Outside, ball 4, and the leadoff man is aboard.
Shortstop, Christian Kell.
Generally not a recipe for success and can be problematic. And here's Christian Kell, the shortstop. Kell hitting .326 with 1 home run and 20 runs batted in. Now Rayner in center field will shade toward right. The first pitch is swung on. Here's a drive to right field. That ball is well hit. Dito looking at it, and it's gone. Good gravy, Marie. The Bulldogs have got their hitting shoes on tonight. And again, a walk and then a home run. It is 6-1 Vancleave. And here's Jansen White, who hit a home run his last at bat. So a homer by White in the first inning put 2 across. A homer by Robb in the second has put 2 across. And now a homer by Kell has put 2 across. They appealed the home run trot to first base, saying that Kell missed the bag. But the first base umpire said he did not. So here's White. Still nobody out. First pitch skips up there, ball 1. And nobody in the Bobcat bullpen right now. Sibley being roughed up tonight, something that has not happened all year. The 1-0 pitch. There's a strike. Cross Sibley had originally committed to Pearl River, but then changed his mind, now going to Jones. Here's the 1-1. And of course, Larry Knight, the former coach here, and the man after which the field is named, now the pitching coach at Jones, so that makes perfect sense. 2-1 the count to White here. That's strike 2. White playing third base. He'll be followed by the designated hitter, Max Miller. Really anticipated a low-scoring game tonight with these pitchers. Strike 3, fastball at the knees. White caught looking and down on strikes. That is the 3rd strikeout. Check that, the 4th strikeout for Sibley. Now Miller digs in, the first of 2 left-handers that Vancleave puts out there. Miller, the DH, hitting .378 with no homers and 11 runs batted in. Breaking ball, missed high. Levi Odom at third, Marshall Phillips at short, Ty Little at second, and Hayden Norrid at first. The 1-0. Swung on, slow roller. Sibley can't get it. Little's got to come in. Bare hands it, throws, and it pulled him off the bag. That's an infield hit for Max Miller. Little did all he could to try to make that play, but it was just hit slowly enough to cause problems. And here's Manny Seymour now, the second baseman. Runner on first, 1 out, 2 runs already in for the Bulldogs here in the 3rd. Zach Berry checking in tonight, saying all white, very classy for sure. He likes this combo as well. Zach Berry now at East Mississippi playing a little baseball. Sibley with Miller at first. Comes to the plate. Swung on, fouled into the screen for Manny Seymour. Seymour hitting .296 on the season. Williamson walked twice tonight and was scored on home runs. Kell now has 2 homers on the year. Sibley over to first base to keep the runner close. Boy, the smell of hamburgers and sausages and, man. Jacob Robinson over here to my left killed me with a hamburger earlier tonight. I can't eat while I'm working the game, so all these guys get hamburgers and swung on. Here's a slow tapper toward third. It's going to stay fair. Under the glove of Odom. Infield hit is the ruling for Seymour. So runners on first and second and 1 out. From the 6:01, okay, Cats, let's fight back. A lot of innings left. That's according to Splinter. And very few fans as big a Bobcat fans as Splinter is over there in Melby. First pitch from Sibley is inside for strike 1 to Noah Nicholson, the opposing pitcher. Nicholson hitting .320 with a homer and 26 runs batted in. He reached on a fielder's choice his first time up and then was plated on the home run by Carson Robb. Runners on first and second, 1 out here in the top of the third. Pickoff play at second, runner back in. Ooh, the umpire pointed at second like he was going to ring him up, but then gave the safe signal. Some of the umpires on their shirts tonight, if you'll notice, they have the initials FP on their shirt sleeves in honor of Forrest Phillips, Marshall's uncle, who was a longtime umpire and was tragically killed not long ago in an auto accident. So the umpires giving tribute to Forrest Phillips. 1-1 the count to Noah Nicholson. Sibley checks the runner. Now the defender's in position, and that hit him way inside, and the bases are loaded.
Catcher, Carson Robb.
So Bilbo will come in to run, and Andy Davis is back out of the dugout. This trip to the mound brought to you by State Farm Insurance agent Stacy Clark, whose office is located in Prentice. Her sons Sully and Sam played baseball at Sumrall, and she'll show you how you can make your premium dollars go a little bit farther by bundling your auto and homeowners insurance. That's Stacy Clark, your State Farm Insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. 6 runs, 7 hits for the Bulldogs. These all off of Cross Sibley. Now Jose Morales works his way down to the bullpen to start loosening as Andy Davis is asked to break up the meeting. And he'll face Carson Robb, who hit a home run, a monster shot, his last time up. Robb is the catcher for Vancleave. The Bobcats have been stunned here with 3 homers in the game so far against the Bulldogs. And there's nowhere to put Robb. He hits 8th in the order. First pitch to him, breaking ball, strike. We'll see how Andy Davis decides to call this here with all benders, all off-speed stuff, or try to mix in a heater or 2 up the ladder and try to get him to chase. 1 out in the inning. The 0-1. Fastball, and there's a drive, but foul down the right field line. So 0-2 to the catcher. A sharply hit ground ball to Phillips or Little would be the ticket here. Corner men are in. Norrid and Odom at the corners will try to get the force at the plate. 0-2 pitch, swung on, shot to Phillips. Backhands to second for 1. Throw to first. Double play. How about that? We called it. Almost like it was scripted. So 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 3 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning here in Sumrall. It's the Bulldogs 6, the Bobcats 1. You're watching the high school baseball playoffs on the NFHS network, powered by Dandy Dan's. So here we go. The Bobcats go to the top of the order. Hayden Barrett, Hayes Rayner, and Marshall Phillips.
Lead off the bottom of the 3rd for the Bobcats, left fielder Hayden Barrett.
Boy, all of the playoffs always bring out the stars. You got Stan Mann, sports fan over there. Stan Caldwell, longtime sports reporter. And all the way from Arkansas, TC Terry Clegg is in the house tonight. So here's Hayden Barrett. He flew out to left field his first time, and there's a gapper to right center. That ball is down, but over to get it quickly is Carpenter, but the Bobcats are in business with a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Center fielder Hayes Rayner.
And here's Rayner, who singled his first time up. Rayner hitting .314 with no homers and 12 runs batted in. Morales continues to loosen under the watchful eye of Bill Garrity. Coach Garrity down there in the bullpen watching him loosen up. So here's Rayner. Throw over to first base to keep Barrett close. Barrett set the school record in stolen bases this year, beating Dennis Jackson's old record. Dennis Jackson, of course, now a receiver in the SEC at Ole Miss. So Barrett can run. Swung on, and there's a pop-up, but out of play. Miss Shirley has not checked in tonight. Her yard right over here is where half the foul balls wind up. Uncle Ernie hasn't checked in either, although the boys from Melby have. Throw again over to first. Blake Morris from the 2013 team is watching tonight from North Dakota. And Blake, you'll understand when I say this, what else would you be doing but listening to a Sumrall game when you live in North Dakota? There's a swing. No, we kid. North Dakota's a great place. I've never been there and don't plan on going there, but 0-2 now to Rayner. That bounced in there. Snap throw to first, runner back in time. No, but that's great how the internet works, all the way from North Dakota watching tonight. Thank you, Blake, for checking in. There's a pitch inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Sumrall batting in the bottom of the 3rd inning, trailing the feisty Bulldogs from Vancleave 6-1. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Rayner out on strikes.
Shortstop Marshall
One away, and here's Marshall Phillips now. Phillips hitting .395 with 2 home runs and 38 RBIs. Righty versus righty, this matchup. The sun no longer a factor. It has quietly gone the way of the Buffalo for today anyway. That pitch is inside, ball 1. Nicholson for Vancleave, a 1.49 earned run average. He came into the game, he'd pitched 51 2/3 innings and had only given up 34 hits. He'd walked 9 and struck out 66. Swung on, that's tapped foul. Wide of third, so the count evens out at 1-1. Six runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Bulldogs. 1, 4, and 0 for the Bobcats. Throw to first. Lots of times the throw to first base is not a deliberate attempt really to pick anybody off. It's just to keep the runners close enough to give your catching teammate an opportunity to throw them out if they do wind up taking off. 1-1 pitch is too high. 2-1 to Phillips. Coach Steve Cooley doing a little hitting instruction from the first base coach's box. Hayden Norrid, the future Pearl River Wildcat, on deck for Sumrall. Swung on, that's shot foul wide of third. Andy Davis missed it, but Daniel Best's assistant coach got a hold of that one. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on, there's a little tap right out in front of the plate. Catcher's only play is at first, and the out is recorded. But Barrett advances to second base, so he's in scoring position with 2 away now. And here's Norrid. Norrid hitting .384 with no homers and 27 runs batted in. Dito on deck should he be needed. Morales continues to throw in the Sumrall bullpen. Nicholson comes set. Checks the runner at second and then delivers a strike right down the middle, position A for strike 1. Norrid is a big kid. Puts that right foot on the back batter's box line. The 0-1 took something off of it. They said he did not go on the appeal. So Norrid has a 1-1 count. Barrett will be going on contact with 2 away. He doesn't have to worry about being doubled up. Here's the 1-1. Outside, 2-1 now. 3 of the 4 teams in Sumrall's district, Purvis, Poplarville, and Sumrall, all still alive in the playoffs. That tells you how strong baseball is in this particular part of the state. The 2-1 pitch. There's a strike. A lot of you have texted in, and I would be derelict if I didn't at least address it. A lot of you have called in saying that you wish a different type of video feed would be available. We get it, but this is the MHSAA's call. And we really, and the fact of the matter is, we could go on a streaming format that you've become accustomed to, but we'd have to pay the MHSAA a lot of money to do that. And that's just the bottom line. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Took something off of it, slow roller towards short. Only play is at first, throw to first. Beat it out. Norrid beat it out, and the runner comes around to score. The Bulldogs thought they had out number 3, but Norrid beat it out, and alertly, Barrett just kept running. He comes around to score. Norrid will get an RBI and an infield hit. And here's Cade Dito, who flew out. First pitch to Dito. There's a drive to left center field. That ball is well hit. Aloha on the steel guitar. And just like that, it's a 6-4 ball game. Cade Dito's first home run of the year. A 2-run shot. Has put the Bobcats right back in this thing. And going into this series, I would have guessed it to be low scoring. But 6-4, and we're just in the third inning. So here's Ty Little.
Second baseman, Ty Little.
Little doubled and scored his last time up. First pitch to him is outside. So the Bobcats didn't score any in the first. They scored 1 in the second, now 3 in the third. So the Bats may have awakened here. 2-0 to Little. 6-4, the Bulldogs lead, but the Bobcats have cut that lead. The 2-0. There's a strike. So right back in it. And the baseballs do just seem to be flying tonight. The 2-1. Swung on. There's a shot into right field. Another base hit for Little. And as he has gotten stronger, you can see that he's hitting the ball a lot harder. So here's Levi Odom. Odom grounded to short his last time up. Boy, this has got the makings of a really, really good game now. And here's Levi Odom, one of the 5 Odom boys whose name begins with the letter L. Breaking ball inside. Luke, Levi, Leo, Lanny. I always forget one of them. Lou, maybe? Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's inside. All the way from North Dakota. And certainly the youngsters are more important than us oldsters, right? So we want to give Blake Morris's son a shout out all the way up there in North Dakota. There's a strike. And we know if Blake Morris's son was here, the Bobcats would win for sure. 2-1 the count. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning. Sumrall has cut the lead to 6-4. Swung on, that one's shot foul. Grayson Eugene Morris is 8 years old. Cheering on the Bobcats from North Dakota. It's the capital of North Dakota. Pierre? Bismarck. Swing and a miss. Odom out on strikes, and so too are the Bobcats, but they come up with 3 more runs. On 3 hits, no errors, 1 man left on base. So we have completed 3 here tonight in Sumrall. It's the Bulldogs 4. Check that, the Bulldogs 6. Six to 4 Bulldogs. Back in a moment. Kelly Sander along with Jeremy Thompson and Jacob Robinson at Larry Knight Field. Bobcats trailing the Bulldogs 6-4. Cross Sibley back out there, but Morales ready to go should he be needed. And it'll be Robbins, Carpenter, and Williamson for the Bulldogs here in the top of the fourth inning. We want to thank Real South Hunting for its sponsorship of Sumrall Baseball on the web, and Com South in the business of business communications for about 50 years, keeping up to date with all the latest technologies to help your business run smoothly and communicate well. Com South, a supporter of Bobcat baseball. The first pitch is inside to Robbins, who struck out looking his first at bat. So Cade Dito, with his first home run of the year, puts two across. And Sibley behind Robbins now 2-0, the leadoff hitter here in the fourth inning. That's low, 3-0 now. Sibley thought that was there, and he visibly is a little shaken there, thinking that was a strike. The leadoff hitter for the Bulldogs has been on every inning so far. Here's the 3-0 pitch as Sibley buckles down. There's a strike. Carpenter singled to lead off the first. Seymour singled to lead off the second. And Williamson led off the third with a walk. The 3-1 pitch. Swung on. There's a shot into right field. Another hit. So the leadoff man again on base for the Bulldogs. And they have had great success in that leadoff spot to begin the inning. And here's Cade Carpenter. Carpenter is simply known in Vancleave as the man. .478 batting average, 12 homers, 40 runs batted in. Sibley checks the runner at first and comes to the plate. Breaking ball in there for strike one, a beauty. But relatively speaking, they've kept Carpenter quiet. The problem is everybody else has risen up so far in this 6-4 game. Throw over to first base and the runner back in time. Again, an all-turf infield here at Sumrall, natural grass outfield. Beautiful night here in northwest Lamar County. The only thing, Sibley ahead of him now, 0-2. The Vancleave Bulldogs and the Bobcats fighting like cats and dogs tonight. The 0-2, that's low. 1-2. The outfield left to right has Barrett, Rayner, and Dito out there. Dito, the man of the hour right now with that Herculean clout to left field. Throw over to first base. Cross Sibley on the mound. Morales now sitting in the dugout. 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, got him on strikes. His second strikeout of the night. And here's Drew Williamson, who has walked twice and scored twice, both times via the home run that came after him. The first pitch to him is low, ball one. Williamson hitting .416 with 3 homers. 5 runs batted in. Bulldogs batting in the top of the fourth. The 1-0 pitch. Way outside. 2-0. Again, you can reach us in the press box at 601-310-7077. Cars parked as far as the eye can see. The 2-0 pitch swung on and fouled away. 2 balls in a Drew Williamson. The first 2 hitters for Vancleave hit .478 and .416. Throw over to first base. Sibley with that great pickoff move. Boy, a big advantage to either team that wins game one. There's a strike on the corner. And Williamson shook his head as if to say, no, it wasn't. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the number 2 man on the order. Breaking ball, strike 3, and he knew it. Another strikeout for Sibley. 6 on the night now for Sibley. And here's Christian Kell. Kell struck out and then homered. Throw over to first base. Kell hitting third in the order. He just hits .326. With 2 homers now and 22 runs batted in. Off-speed Bender off the plate for ball 1. Looking to the Sumrall fourth. It'll be 8, 9, and 1. Walker Long, Ethan Altman, and Hayden Barrett. Sumrall trailing 6-4. Here in game 1 of this best-of-3 game series. The 1-0 pitch. Swung on. High chopper toward Phillips at second. Flips to second for the out. And they stymie the Bulldogs for the first time tonight. No runs on a hit. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's the Bulldogs 6, the Bobcats 4. You're watching Sumrall Bobcat Playoff Baseball powered by Dandy Dan's. So we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Walker Long, who singled with an RBI, his first at bat, will lead it off. And again, he'll be followed by Altman and Hayden Barrett. Glad that you're with us on this Thursday night. Game 2 of the series tomorrow night at 6 down near the Mississippi Gulf Coast. First pitch to Long is a strike on the corner. Noah Nicholson with a 7-2 win-loss record coming into tonight. On the hill for the Bulldogs. The 0-1 pitch took something off of it. And a swing and a miss at an off-speed pitch. Southern Miss beaten last night by Southeastern Louisiana 5-3. The Southland Conference rises up and beats Conference USA. 0-2 pitch had him leaning, but he was able to hold off of it. 1-2 to Walker Long, the leadoff hitter here for Sumrall in the bottom of the 4th. The 1-2 pitch. Just missed on the fastball. You saw the Vancleave coaching staff, they thought that was there. Might have been just a touch outside. Levi Odom now will begin to warm in the Sumrall bullpen. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Gets away from the catcher. Walker Long streaks down to first base, and he's aboard. So a drop third strike. Brandon Harrison will come in to run for him. And here's Altman now. Boy, Something like that on a drop third. And, you know, sometimes you sit around and you think that Mr. Doubleday and the guys that created baseball, what type of medication were they on when they said, you know what? If a guy strikes out and the catcher drops it, let's let the hitter run to first base. I mean, these little oddities of the game of baseball. Because really that punishes a pitcher, you know, a drop third strike where the runner scores. Bunt is shown by Altman, and picking up the scent at third base is Jansen White, but that pitch was outside. Bulldogs lead the Bobcats 6-4 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Pickoff play over at first base. Altman hitting ninth in the order, so baseball strategy 101. It certainly would not be unusual to lay down a bunt here, although catchers generally don't tend to be great bunters. But there is a bunt right out in front of the plate. They've got to go to second base, and a high throw, and error made on the throw. Throw over to third. Harrison is safe. Wow. And Harrison really should have been out at second base. He did not run thinking that the ball was going to be caught. The play really should have been at second base, but an errant throw at first. Now has runners at first and third. Munn is going to run for Altman. So it's an error on the throw. Runners at the corners, nobody out. And here's Hayden Barrett now. Barrett has flown to left, singled and scored. There's a check swing, but he didn't go. And really, on a play like that, the catcher needs to call where that ball should have been thrown, because they had him out at second base by a mile. Harrison wasn't running, thinking the ball was going to be caught. So the Bobcats dodge a huge bullet. 1-0 pitch, swung on and fouled right over our heads here. It's one thing to dodge one bullet, but it's another thing to cash in. And they've got runners at the corners here with nobody out. Levi Odom back in from the bullpen. So he and Morales have had sessions in the pen. 1-1 pitch, foul. He's got to go back. The ball was fouled back. So 1-2 to Barrett. Barrett hitting .354 with 1 homer and 28 runs batted in. The 1-2 pitch coming up from Nicholson. Again, a throw to first to keep the run. So a couple of mistakes, really, the Bulldogs made there. One is they should have thrown on Harrison at second. And then number two, a bad throw to first. So they got nothing out of it. See if the Bobcats can make them pay. 1-2 the count to Barrett. Sumrall batting in the bottom of the fourth. Huge crowd here on hand. The 1-2 pitch. Runner going. It's low. Gets away from the catcher. Harrison will stay at third. But Liam Munn races down to second. This has happened. Either they knew that Vancleave was good, or they knew that Terry Clegg was in town. The 2-2 pitch. And now the pitcher off of the mound. I'm betting that they knew Vancleave was good. The 2-2 pitch. Took something off of it. Lazy little fly down the right field line, but that'll get out of play near the right field executive lounge. They got the grill going in the right field executive lounge and the grill down in the left field executive lounge going. As if we're not tormented enough with the aroma of hamburgers and sausage dogs up here. 2-2 the count to Barrett with runners at the corners. Nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. The pitch. Swung on, again a foul ball out of play. So Barrett has a good at bat going here. We don't know ultimately how it's going to end up. Six to 4 ball game. But the Bobcats are a base hit away from potentially tying this game. The 2-2. And that hit him. That hit Barrett. So the bases are loaded. Now wait a minute. Now the umpire's calling Barrett back. Andy Davis wants an explanation. It looked like to us that he got hit. But the umpire's saying it hit the bottom of the bat, which would constitute a foul ball. And that's the ruling. So the bottom of the bat, that knob at the bottom of the bat, that constitutes a foul ball. Wow. The 2-2 pitch coming up to Barrett. Took something off and there's a shot into center field. 2 runs will score. That one is cut off. Throw to second, not in time, and we have a tie game. Old Tweeter comes through. It's a 6-6 game.
Center fielder, Hayes Rayner.
Barrett is credited with a single. He goes to second on the throw home. And here's Rayner now, who is singled and struck out. And remember, the Bobcats have no outs here in the 4th. Nicholson the righty, Rayner the lefty. 6-6 game. Shows bunt and tries to push it. And it goes foul. Remember, the Bobcats don't have any outs here. They've got a man in scoring position, and he tried to have Rayner put the bunt down to get the lead run over to third. So the Bobcats are willing to give up the out to move the runner to third. Each team have 6 runs on 8 hits, but the Bulldogs have 2 miscues. Tries to get that bunted, but it's foul. So now, Rayner will most likely swing away. And he struck out last time against Nicholson on the night. Nicholson has 3 strikeouts, where Sibley has 6. The 0-2 pitch. Swung on, there's a drive to left, coming in to make the catch, and actually tracking it beautifully. They had him positioned just right. Drew Williamson makes the grab, and there's one away. So here's Marshall Phillips. Phillips has popped to second, and he was thrown out by the catcher on a little dribbler out in front of the plate. The first pitch to him took something off of it, high and inside. You can tell he took something off of it, 72 miles an hour on the gun, when he's normally in the mid to upper 80s. Phillips looking for his first hit of the night, and a hit that could potentially put the Bobcats in the lead for the first time. The 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball, strike. Probably the best pitch that Nicholson has thrown all night was that one right there. How about the Bobcats? They barely had a pulse in the second inning. And now in the 4th, they're a hit away from taking the lead. I'm not sure. They talk about being packed in here like sardines. I'm not sure that even a sardine would have room to get in here. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on, tapped foul, wide of third. So 3 home runs for the Bulldogs have proved beneficial, but they've given those back with a couple of errors. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball just missed. Just a little bit high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The wind has never been a factor here tonight. Not sure it could be any better weather-wise. Phillips takes a look at Nicholson. Nicholson checks the runner and comes to the plate. Swung on, shot again wide of third. Boy, they're partying again in Melby tonight. Splinter over there is just yelling, "Go Bobcats," at the top of his lungs. Marshall Phillips trying to put the Bobcats ahead. Again, Phillips hitting third in the order with Norred on deck. Morales was in the bullpen loosening. Levi Odom was in the bullpen loosening. 2-2, swing and a miss. Phillips out on strikes. So 2 away. And man, he challenged Phillips up high. And here's Norred now, who has grounded to the pitcher, singled and scored. He's got an RBI to his credit. Regardless of what happens tonight, we'll be in Vancleave tomorrow night for a 6 o'clock start. And look, even though I have a good time doing the games and enjoy it, I'd much rather see you in person down on the coast. Norred against Nicholson. Bobcats batting in the bottom of the 4th. Now time is called. Norred didn't like how much time Nicholson was taking. And again, coming into this series, it had the makings of a very low-scoring series with the pitching statistics and so on. But both teams have come out swinging the sticks. First pitch is low to Norred as that bounced in there. Cade Dito on deck. He's the man of the hour. That 2-run shot. 2-run homer. Last inning. Help tie this game. There's a high fly ball to right field. And caught. Easy play there for the right fielder, Preston Robbins. So 2 runs on 3 hits. There was 1 error and 1 man left on base. We've completed 4 here in Sumrall. It's the Bobcats 6 and the Bulldogs 6. Back with more in a moment. You're watching Sumrall Bobcat Baseball, powered by Dandy Dan's. The old Star Wars theme on the PA system as we get the 5th inning underway. Jansen White, Max Miller, and Manny Seymour to go up against Cross Sibley. Sibley back out there. Both starting pitchers have been roughed up a little bit compared to what they're used to. But we have a 6-6 game. First pitch fouled away.
Lead on the top of the 5th for Vancleave. Number 22, Jansen White.
So White has homered with a couple of RBIs and then struck out looking. So it's been feast or famine for him. Sumrall looking for a state championship. It's first since 2015. There's a strike. Breaking ball at the knees. And Jansen White did not like that call and slowly working his way back into the batter's box. The 0-2. Breaking ball outside. Sibley with a little spring in his step there trying to get that call. New life here for the Bobcats. Again, they barely had a pulse, and now the heart monitor going crazy. The 1-2 pitch. Low. 2-2. Melby says the fat lady hasn't sung yet. And I think that was Dandy Don Meredith that actually years ago on Monday Night Football came up with that, the fat lady singing line. Swing and a miss. White out on strikes. The 7th strikeout for Sibley tonight. And Dandy Don's Meredith reference to the fat lady singing, it was in an opera. You know, usually opera, the soprano is always a big heavy set woman. And that's where the reference came from. As we come back out of the classroom, here's Max Miller, the designated hitter. First pitch is a fastball strike on the corner. Miller has grounded to the pitcher and singled. He wound up being stranded at third. Base is empty, 1 out here in the top of the 5th inning. New ball game. Swung on, fouled into the screen. New life for Sibley. Sibley moved to Lamar County from Grenada back when he was either 9 or 10 years old. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Down he goes. 2 up and 2 down. That's now 8 strikeouts for Sibley. And here's Manny Seymour, who has singled twice. Sibley seems to be really focused now. Swing and a miss. Seymour hitting .296 with no homers and 14 runs batted in. The 0-1. Strike on the corner. And I think you can see what I mean by Sibley razor sharp focus now. Every pitch he's thrown in this inning has been a strike. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out.
No runs, no hit, no errors, nobody left.
All via the strikeout. 9 on the night for Sibley. We go to the bottom of the 5th for Sumrall. It'll be Dito, Little, and Odom. You're watching the baseball playoffs on the NFHS network, powered by Dandy Dan's. So here we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Old Superman, K. Dito, is going to lead it off. He's 1 for 2 with a home run and a flyout.
Right fielder, K. Dito.
Dito hitting .382 with 1 homer now and 14 runs batted in. A little bit different dynamic in the game now that the Rawlers have woken up. Nicholson still in there for the Vancleave Bulldogs and throws a off-speed strike at 66 miles an hour. Steve Cooley riding the home plate umpire pretty hard. That's not like Coach Cooley, is it? The 0-1 pitch. That one skips up there. It was Dito's homer to left center field that tied this game. So he's up there again with a 1-1 count here in the bottom of the fifth. Way outside. And Nicholson looks a little rattled, I must say. Ty Little on deck. You know, the guys, the Bobcats did a radio show earlier this week that I actually got to host. The 2-1 pitch is high, 3-1. And they were I think they were kind of halfway kidding, saying, well, you said we weren't a great hitting team. And I said, well, guys, in context, you're not a great hitting team, but the pitching's been so good you haven't had to be. There's ball 4 outside. And Dito with a leadoff walk.
Second baseman, Ty Little.
And here's Ty Little, who is 2 for 2 with a single and a double and a run scored. And he runs so well, it's very difficult to double up any of these Sumrall hitters because as a team, Sumrall is not a very big team, but they all run like the wind. And you can't coach speed, by and large. First pitch to Little. Shows bunt, but then pulls back. And the third baseman, Jansen White, was in to try to field the bunt. Put the ball in play and put pressure on the defense. And now Little out of the box. Andy Davis wants time, and he wants to talk things over with Little. Meanwhile, Carson Robb will go out to talk to Noah Nicholson. Vancleave. Poplarville into the second round. And Purvis playing Northeast Jones in the second round. Greene County, the only team that was beaten in the first round of the playoffs from Sumrall's district. And Greene County won game 1 of that series and then lost the next 2. The 1-0 pitch. There's a strike. That was right there. But it appears now that Andy Davis has taken the bunt sign off. Bobcats batting in the bottom of the fifth. 1-1 count to Little. Now he shows bunt again. And that throw over to first base didn't necessarily serve as a pickoff move, but when a pitcher throws over to first base like that, the batter lots of times will show his hand, and in this case, he did show bunt. So that gives the defense time to adjust. And you might think that the Bulldogs are taking a lot of time with these runners, but again, Sumrall runs so well that they have to try to keep the runners as close as possible. Bunt is shown. Look out, it's popped up. The catcher makes the play. And that's a worst case scenario there. 1 away.
Third baseman, Levi Odom.
So here's Odom now with a runner at first and a man out. Odom has grounded to short and struck out. And I remembered the 5th L of the Odom boys. It's Lou. So it's Luke, Levi, Leo, Lou, and Lanny. Odom. All boys. Odom hitting 7th in the order tonight. Bobcats with a man on and a man out. First pitch, swing and a miss. Vancleave and Sumrall going with their donkeys tonight, their aces. That's what we called the best pitcher on the staff or the best starter back when we were kids, was the ace. Now the term is donkey. Donkey? Yes. Odom getting time at the plate. No wind at all here tonight. Breaking ball, that's too high. 1-1. Six runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for the Bulldogs. 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Bobcats. The 1-1 pitch to Odom. Here's a high chopper to third. They go to second for 1. It was a low throw, and really credit the second baseman, Manny Seymour, for going down to make that play. Dito is forced out. So 2 away. It'll go as a fielder's choice. And here's Walker Long, the designated hitter. See what he's been up to. He has singled with an RBI. Struck out swinging, but wound up being safe at first base on a drop third strike. And then he came around to score. There's a drive, and that hits the Vancleave bus and may have broken a window on the Vancleave bus over there. That's a fine how do you do. So Walker Long may be saying, well, take that if it can't be a fair ball. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Ball gets away from the catcher. And Andy Davis wanted his man at first base down there, and the likes of Levi Odom to be down at second base on that pass ball. And he missed an opportunity. So 0-2 to Walker Long. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, runner on first base and 2 away. It's going to take a lot more than a foul ball to ruin a bus. No, those things are like tanks. But we could have said, don't park there. The 0-2 pitch gets away again from catcher Carson Robb, but not far enough for Odom to advance. Walker Long hitting 8th in the order. They play him to pull slightly. Center field shaded slightly toward left. Now Long wants timeout. Southern Miss taking on Middle Tennessee this weekend in Hattiesburg. And then they will travel to Florida next weekend to finish out the regular season against FAU, the Owls. 1-2 pitch. Just low. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Southern Miss, one of the top teams in Conference USA, as that conference tournament will be in Ruston this year. Walker Long called timeout, but called it really late, and I'm surprised the umpire gave it to him, really. But Nicholson wisely went ahead and threw the pitch. Sometimes you can hurt yourself actually trying to stop your motion. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Took something off of it, struck him out. So nothing across for the Bobcats. No runs, no hits. There was an error and 1 man left. We've completed 5 here at Larry Knight Field. We go to the top of the 6th. 6-6, the Bulldogs and the Bobcats. You're watching the baseball playoffs on the NFHS TV network, powered by Dandy Dan's. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Cross Sibley still out there for the Bobcats, and he'll face Noah Nicholson, Carson Robb, and Preston Robbins in a 6-6 ball game. Certainly hope the Bobcats pull this out, but the fact that they're even in it after the start they had tonight, it was certainly anything but stellar. Here's Nicholson. He reached on a fielder's choice and scored, and then he got hit by a pitch. Sibley has struck out 9 tonight, and he's normally in the double digits. First pitch to Nicholson is swung on and fouled into the screen. Nicholson and Miller are the only 2 left-handed hitters in the lineup for Vancleave. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Sibley, that left-handed pitch was in there at 85 miles an hour. The 0-2. Swung on. Here's a slow roller to second base. Little's got it. Comes up throwing and makes the play easily. So Nicholson out on the 4-3. I don't think that was probably as fast as he could run down to first base, but nonetheless, here's Carson Robb, who has hit a 2-run homer and then grounded into a double play. You just can't help but think that Big momentum is on Sumrall's side right now. The Bulldogs hit the Bobcats with some uppercuts early on and dazed Sumrall, so to speak, but the Bobcats, realizing they really do have a fight on their hands, have answered the call. Andrew Knight now warming up in the bullpen. Breaking ball missed inside for Carson Robb. He'll be followed by Preston Robbins, the right fielder. Andrew Knight, again in the bullpen. He might just be loosening for tomorrow night, so to speak. 1-1 on that swing and a miss, because you'd think that he would be the starter tomorrow. But it is all hands on deck when it comes to the playoffs. The 1-1. Too high. 2-1 now to Carson Robb. The Bulldogs tallied 2 runs in each of the first 3 innings and have been handcuffed since. Sumrall scored 1 in the second, 3 in the third, 2 in the fourth to tie it. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the catcher, Carson Robb. Just missed away, 3-2. Big pitch coming up here for Sibley. Sibley, stockily built, not the tallest guy out there, but strong power plants. Again, doesn't miss a leg day in the gym. Here's the 3-2. Too high, ball 4. So Robb, the catcher, is on board. He'll be lifted most likely for a courtesy runner. And that is the case.
Courtesy runner at first base, number 21, Tanner Willis.
Tanner Willis is the courtesy runner at first. And now you've got Preston Robbins. The Bobcats, anticipating a bunt, bring Odom in at third. Breaking ball, strike. Robbins struck out looking in the second and singled in the fourth. So here he is in the 6th. And again, the school of thought is usually with no outs you'd bunt, but not with 1. There's a swing and a miss, strike 2. Robbins hitting 185 with no homers and 6 RBI, so he's not a guy that they necessarily count on to come up with the big hit. Strike 3, a fastball right down the tube, and that is the 10th strikeout for Sibley. But now here's the guy you've got to be careful of. Cade Carpenter hitting .478 with 12 homers and 40 runs batted in, and he has been quiet tonight. He has singled but struck out twice. First pitch is a sweeping swing to the left side, foul. Vancleave batting in the top of the 6th inning, tied with Sumrall at 6 here in game 1 of the best of 3. Breaking ball bounced in there. We are right over home plate, and I mean over home plate, 3 stories up. So we're looking right down on top of things. Sibley takes a deep breath, checks the runner at first base, and comes set. The 1-1. That bounced up there again. 2-1 the count to the leadoff hitter, Cade Carpenter. But he has been a dagger to everybody that they've played this year. The 2-1 pitch. Look on, there's a drive down the right field line. It is twisting foul, and Andrew Knight almost caught it in the bullpen down there in right field. But that was hit a long, long way. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. And we are tied at 6. Sibley brings it home. Check swing. Did not go. So now Daniel Best, the coach for Vancleave, will put Willis in motion at first. But watch if Sibley goes over there thinking he might be on the move. Yeah, that's usually what he does. On a 3-2 with 2 outs, knowing that the runner will be off with the pitch, he throws to first base and tries to get the man in a rundown. But the Bulldogs were privy to it. So Willis will be on the move as soon as Sibley releases the ball. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss! He struck him out.
No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left after 5.5.
11 strikeouts for Sibley. No runs, no hits, a man left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. We're tied at 6. You're watching the high school baseball playoffs, powered by Dandy Dan. Kelly Sander with you from Larry Knight Field. Noah Nicholson comes back out for the bottom of the 6th, and he will face hitters 9, 1, and 2 for the Bobcats. Ethan Altman, Hayden Barrett, and Hayes Rayner. The Raw Cats that come to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th inning in a 6-6 ball game. First pitch to Altman is a strike right down the middle at 82 miles an hour. Altman hitting 200 with no homers and 8 runs batted in. He's flown to center and reached on an air. Swung on. Here's a grounder to short. Should be routine. Throw to first, and Altman is out. 1 out on the 6-3 ground out. And here's Big Pug, Tweeter, whatever you want to call him, Hayden Barrett. His brother Hunter was in the crowd tonight as former Sumrall baseball players as far back as 1964 were in the house tonight, and they were saluted. It was a very nice ceremony prior to tonight's game. First pitch to Barrett is an off-speed pitch that's high and inside. Both teams have settled in here. Knight goes to warm up again. Morales and Odom have already loosened up. There's a strike. Barrett may have been on the take until he saw his first strike. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on, another grounder to short. They'll have to hurry because Barrett moves quickly. Throw to first, and they got him by half a step. Boy, Barrett gets down that line amazingly fast. Another 6-3 putout. And here's Hayes Rayner. Even if the worst should happen in this inning, you'd have to think well that the Bobcats would have the meat of their order coming up in the bottom of the 7th. Rayner has a hit tonight. First pitch to him is sweeping ground ball foul to the right side. He got that in the first inning, but since then he has struck out and flown to left field. Two really good teams going at it tonight, and we're no closer to knowing a winner than we were when we started. The game started out tied, obviously, and we're still tied. Albeit 6-6 now, with nobody scoring a run since the 4th. 1-1 to Rayner. The next pitch. Tries to do a sweeping bunt and fouls it back 1-2 now. I like what he's thinking, just didn't get it done. Rayner hitting .314. No homers and 12 runs batted in. Bases empty, 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th. The pitch. Off speed outside. And it was. The Vancleave fans thought it was there, but it was a good baseball width outside. From the near side of the rubber, Nicholson kicks and delivers again. That's a fastball on the outside corner. That's an off-speed pitch that strikes Rayner out. So the Bobcats go in order here in the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors. We're tied at 6 at the end of 6. The dramatic, potentially last chance 7th coming up for both teams in a moment. You're watching the high school baseball playoffs on the NFHS network, powered by Dandy Dan's. So the dramatic 7th inning in a tie game. The Bulldogs will send hitters 2, 3, and 4 to the plate. The Bobcats will send hitters 3, 4, and 5. But both starting pitchers are still in the game and quite well, thank you. Andrew Knight continues to loosen. Again, Morales and Odom have already done so. Williamson will lead it off. He has walked twice and was the 6th strikeout victim of Cross Sibley. Sibley has rung up 11 tonight. And you'd think under normal circumstances that would be plenty. But we're tied at 6. First pitch to him is swung on and fought away, foul to the right side. Kind of jammed him inside, and he worked that one off the fist. Now the Bulldogs start to get the bullpen busy. The 0-1. Breaking ball in there for strike 2. So 0-2 to Williamson here. Breaking ball struck him out. That is the 12th strikeout for Sibley. One away. In the 4th, Sibley struck out 2. In the 5th, he struck out the side. In the 6th, he struck out 2. And now here in the 7th, he strikes out the leadoff man. So he's on fire right now. Christian Kell takes a breaking ball strike. 70-mile-an-hour curveball. Kell has struck out, homered, and reached on a fielder's choice. Swing and a miss. And the Bulldogs really seem befuddled here, figuring out Sibley's breaking ball. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. That's 13. 13 Ks. And here's Jansen White. Base is empty, 2 away here in the 7th. White has homered, but since then he's struck out twice. Fastball at 86 miles an hour, but too high. 114 pitches for Sibley so far tonight. That number's, that's up there. 1-0 pitch, breaking ball strike. So he goes from an 84-mile-an-hour fastball to a 74-mile-an-hour spinner. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Off speed again at 70. A ball and 2 strikes to the cleanup hitter, Jansen White. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, there's a shot past third into left field. Rounding first. It'll be a long single for White with 2 outs. That's the first base runner. Oh, I take that back. Rob was on last inning via the walk. Bilbo now will run for White. And Max Miller, who has a 1-for-3 night with a single, a ground out, and a strikeout. Vancleave batting in the top of the 7th inning. We are still tied at 6. And again, Phillips, Norred, and Dito will swing it for Sumrall in the bottom of the 7th. First pitch from Sibley. Breaking ball fouled into the screen. Miller hitting .378 with no homers and 11 runs batted in. Sibley wants some fresh leather. Rayner in center field hasn't played the opposite way. So there's all kinds of room in right center. Throw over to first. Bilbo got back in time. He was leaning towards second, but Bilbo picked it up just in time. That's where a lefty has a huge advantage as a pitcher. Looking at those runners right in the eyeballs. 0-1 to Max Miller. Again, the throw to first. Supposed to be another nice night tomorrow. So if you are making the trip, which we'd love to see you do, just please be careful. It's not you we're worried about lots of times, it's that other guy. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. He reached for one, but it gets away from Altman, and going down to second base is Bilbo. So he's the go-ahead run at second base, but it's an 0-2 count on Miller. Game 2 tomorrow night in Vancleave. If a game 3 should be necessary, it would be here Saturday night. Time at the plate. No balls and 2 strikes to Miller, hitting 5th in the order. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out on an 83-mile-an-hour heater. Miller goes down and he strikes out the side again. That's 14 strikeouts. 14 strikeouts for Cross Sibley tonight. So we go to the last chance 7th. It'll be Phillips, Norrid, and Dito. 120 pitches. He cannot throw any more pitches by rule. The MHSAA requires pitchers to come out after 120 pitches. So Sibley is done, regardless of whether the game is done or not, here in the 7th. Again, thanks to our sponsors, Recommended Collision Repair, Casey Long Alpha Insurance Agency, the Rainforest Car Wash, where Tuesday is Women's Day. And don't forget, when you go to Rainforest, you get a free car wash with an oil change. Java Mo's. You don't have to get out of your car to enjoy your favorite cup of joe. Just drive through your favorite Java Mo's. The Stacy Clark State Farm Insurance Agency in Prentice, ComSouth Business Communications, and Real South Hunting. Back with the bottom of the 7th in a moment. This is Sumrall Bobcat Baseball, powered by Dandy Dan's. The Umpires Association tonight donating their salaries, and fans passed the bucket for cancer awareness. And Miss Anita Sumrall, of course, the athletic director and our boss here at Sumrall, has been battling cancer, so that money was donated to help her with her medical expenses. A class act by the Umpires Association and by all the fans that participated. So here's Marshall Phillips. He's 0 for 3. First pitch to him in the 7th inning is outside, ball 1. And again, Noah Nicholson is in there for Vancleave. But if this game goes extra innings, there's a strike. Cross Sibley would not be able to pitch the next inning because he's at his 120 pitch limit. 1-1 the count to Phillips. There's strike 2. And boy, is Phillips due. Marshall hitting .395 with 2 homers and 38 runs batted in. That was coming into tonight. Now he wants to collect his thoughts here a little bit. 1:15 now for Vancleave's pitcher. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Phillips out on strike, so down he goes. So there's 116 pitches. So he's not going to get out of the inning, you would think. Nicholson's not. He's only got 4 pitches left, and then by rule, he would have to come out. And they do that to try to protect kids' arms. You certainly understand that. But here's Norrid now, who is 1 for 3 with an RBI. Came into the game hitting .384. First pitch is off speed and inside, ball 1. Nicholson thought it was a strike. So we expect a timeout just shortly for Nicholson to be taken out. 1-0 pitch is a strike at the knees. And the Sumrall fans didn't like that one. But really, I think either way, the count would be 1-1. So Dito on deck. He's already got a home run tonight. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on. There's a drive to center field, but playable. Right there in center to put it away is Cade Carpenter. So 2 away, base is empty. And here's Dito, who already has a homer on the night. It was back in the 3rd inning. A 2-run homer. In Melby, they're checking in again on the text line saying, let's go Cats. Does Dito have another home run swing at bat? The first pitch to him is a strike right down the tube. This game reeks of extra innings right now, unless Dito can keep it going. This may be the last pitch for Nicholson. He can finish the batter, even though he's got 120 pitches. He can finish the hitter, but could not go any further. 1-1 the count to Dito. So if they get Dito out, he would be done for the night. There's strike two. A ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Both of these teams battling. We're at 6-6 in the bottom of the 7th. We'll see new pitchers in the 7th if we get there. The 1-2 pitch. Missed inside. 2-2 now. Can one swing of the bat by Cade Dito end this one and give Sumrall a 1-game-to-none lead in the series? The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball high. 3-2. So either way, this will be the last pitch for Nicholson. The payoff pitch. Ball 4. And by our count, a pitching change will have to be made here. And here it comes. 126 pitches officially. The winning run is at first base for Sumrall with 2 outs. Andy Davis meets with the brain trust here. Coach Broom and Coach Cooley. And that's it for Noah Nicholson. 126 pitches. And he'd probably say if it wasn't for the rule, he'd like to go some more. That's the kind of competitor he is. And I'm guessing that Rob is going to be the relief pitcher. But nobody has been unveiled yet. Ty Little, and it is going to be Rob. Rob comes in to relieve Sumrall, trying to win it in the bottom of the 7th with a runner on first and 2 outs. Back in a moment, you're watching the high school baseball playoffs on the NFHS TV network. Carson Robb, who was the starting catcher for Vancleave, comes in now, and he'll face Ty Little. Looking at his pitching numbers, he has, as a pitcher, 7 wins, 1 loss, and a 1.17 earned run average. Does Carson Robb. Teams hit 109 against him. He has pitched 47 2/3 innings. He's got 27 walks and 83 strikeouts. So here's Ty Little with Dito at first base and 2 away in the bottom of the 7th in a 6-6 ball game. If this series is anything like this game, you're in for a real treat the next 2 or 3 days. The first pitch to Little is outside, ball 1. They maybe thought that Dito would have been taking off to get into scoring position. So here we go. 1-0 the count to Little. Should Odom be needed, he's on deck. The 1-0 pitch, here's a strike at 87 miles an hour. High school guys. Robb is a big drink of water out there. Vancleave with a couple of 2 stretches out there on the hill. The 1-1 pitch. And that's outside. What's unique about Robb is rarely at any level at this age do you see a catcher that also pitches. You rarely see that. But he's a stud. And here's the 2-1 pitch. Coming up to Little. Runner going. Throw to second. Into center field. But Dito will hold, so he is there. A base hit would potentially win it for Sumrall. The outfielders will probably come up so that any base hit, the throw would automatically come home. Because really, Little would mean nothing on the bases. It's all about Cade Dito at second base. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Sumrall trailed most of the game, has not led at all. The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on, grounded to short. Backhanded and bobbled! Coming home is the throw, and he is safe at the plate. Unbelievable finish. Christian Kell, the shortstop, normally sure-handed, came up with the backhand, bobbled it, knew he did not have a play at first, and never hesitating, Dito rounded third. The throw came home. The Bulldogs thought that the tag was made, but it looked like from our vantage point, although the attempt was made, that he just missed it. Sumrall has won this ball game. Seven to 6. 7 runs, 8 hits, no errors. For Vancleave, 6 runs, 9 hits, but a fatal 3 errors. That was the difference. Sumrall goes to 26-2. Vancleave 21-7. And game 2 of this best-of-3 game series will be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock in Vancleave. What a game. Bobcats win it 7-6. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks to all of our sponsors. For producer engineer Jeremy Thompson. Thank you for joining us. You've been watching Sumrall Bobcat Baseball on the NFHS TV network, powered by Dandy Dan's.